Hey, what's up, guys? Man, looks like it's going to be a pretty okay day today. It's overcast, it's not super hot, and well, I got some pallets. So what we're going to do is bring a pallet up here, set it about right here. We're going to start picking up all this old suspension stuff, getting it put on pallets so we can get it out of the way so a guy can walk around this thing and have clear path. Once we get that done, we'll get the floor swept up and we'll get some tools out here. We're going to find a place to put the fiberglass tools. I've got tool carts all over the place and they're all just storage carts and it's super irritating. I got to take care of that today because I need a tool cart and we need to get back out here, get the sleeper unwired, get the hoses out from it, get the 4 bolts off it, get the sleeper boot out, get that sleeper off that truck today. That's got to happen. It's almost time for me to go back to work. I haven't got anything done since I've been home. I've been home an excessive amount of time and man, I just don't have any videos put together for you guys. So we got to get things done. It's got to happen. So let me get this pallet done and let's get after it. Hey, what's up, guys? Man, what a nice day it is today. Look at it. Just look at it. All right, that was pretty quick work. We need to get a small container for the scrap, and then we can get this swept up. We'll get some tools out here. We'll try and get we'll get these shock mounts off, get these fender mounts off, and just get stuff ready. This is just a piece of crap that has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, I guess we're gonna get rained on, but that's not horrible. May have to run to the dump tomorrow, bring it back. All right. Wait. I mean, I'm kind of an idiot does that. You know what I mean? Even though it's not hot out today, I'm still watering my clothes. Pretty impressive, actually. We don't really need this many relay valves, so we're going to we'll figure out the air lines. Look, there's only, let me get you up here just a fuzz. All right, so there's only a couple air lines you need back to the back of the truck. You need a supply that comes off the 90-pound regulator, and that is for the suspension. Need one of those. You need a big supply that comes off of the unregulated tank, not the wet tank, but the next one. I don't remember what you call that. Primary tank, rear, and that goes to supply the air that's sitting on the outside of the relay valve for the brakes. That's super important. And you need the foot valve relay line, which is when you push down the pedal, it puts air into the relay valve, and the relay valve opens, regulates the air pressure to the brakes. And so those are super important. Then what you got back here is, if you have a suspension air dump valve, you need that plumbed in, and that has a feed line to it from the valve on the dash. So you do need some things, but you don't need this many. I don't know what this valve is. I've never seen one before. It's like an intermediate valve. And I think it probably has something to do with the air suspension, because I see it goes into that loop air line. Like I said, we don't need all those. And getting to the bottom of them, I also see a solenoid valve up there that could have went to the slider. It's hard to say. But what I'm doing is I'm going to take off all these air lines. And this is a relay valve for something. Yeah, it doesn't matter, because we're only going to have the air lines that come from the truck to the air tanks, and the rest of it we're going to block off and eliminate and then rerun as needed. I know the things that we do need, and the stuff that we don't need. All right, yeah, this was something to do with the air suspension. I don't know what. But if I use the 8-bag, it's fully configured, so I'll mount these center braces that we looked at yesterday. I don't know if I looked at that with you. We'll look at that again today. But we'll mount those, and then we'll transfer over the rear diffs and get the cross members in and get the rear diffs mounted. And then we'll set the suspension down, and we'll put the bag mounts and mount those. And it's really a simple suspension. The only bracketry it has is the center mount, and the center mounts and the airbag mounts, and then and some shock mounts. And it's got 2 trailing arms that go to the 2 cross members, or no, it has 2 trailing arms that go to each other, to the center cross member, and then use the side cross member or trailing arms. So it's pretty easy, actually. It's nice to get this truck apart. I'm definitely getting it sandblasted when I get home from work. The things that are on schedule for when I get home from work are try to get the air cleaners for crystal done, and get this frame sandblasted, primed and painted, and probably move the 8-bag suspension over next to this truck and start really eyeballing it and seeing what we're going to do. And if we are going to do that, we're going to get after it. Okay, so this is ready to come out. We'll take those bolts out. Okay, so we got this stuff off. I have to figure out what that is. We'll get these hoses off of these, pull those back through. Well, let's get over to the other side and start getting after that stuff. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is grab the punch, knock these out, try and slide this back and stick a bolt in just to hold this rear suspension or this rear frame together. And then we'll bring torches out, we'll cut these shock mounts out, we'll knock the rest of these bolts out. And I don't know how we'll get this out. There's no way it's going to turn in there. We might have to slide it all the way to the back and then take the back one back out. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll just leave the sleeper hooked up for now. We'll get both of those out. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll knock that out, knock off those other mounts, knock these pins all out, and we'll slide this one out, and then we'll slide this one to the back and bolt it up. And then that'll hold the frame together. And when we get the thing sandblasted, we'll sandblast from the front to the back. We'll get it all done except for the very back. And then we'll move that or something. But yeah. Let's get a punch and knock those out. I will tell you something, and it even says it right on the punch. Wear safety goggles. And it doesn't say glasses, it says goggles, because you see these have a gap under here, and when you hit hardened steel with hardened steel, and granted this is not as hard because this is made to be hit, but you can chip off a piece and it's like a little bullet. So I'm telling you, that's good advice. You should heat it. If you saw that spark shoot off there, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Ouch. All right. So the things I have cut off are knocked out. Whew. And I think I see this frame rail rolling up, which is why I want to put a cross member in there in the first place. So we'll bring it back. All right. So we got the hot wrench out. We're going to cut off some stuff that needs to be cut off. so that's what we got. We got all this suspension boxed up. We got these rear sleeper bolts off. We got to get these front ones off. Hopefully come right out with the impact. But we're going to climb up inside here. We're going to take that sleeper boot out. Then we're going to get that side door open over there. Get the AC lines and the heater hoses out and the electrical. And we're going to come out here with the forklift. We're going to slide in over this tank as far as we can. We'll put a board right here across this bracing. We'll slide as deep as we can in there. We'll throw a strap around it back to the forklift and we'll pick it up and back off of there. And that's, so we're going to pick it up and back out from under it. And we'll see what that does. I'm going to go in and get some breakfast, change this shirt, and I'll be back. Alright guys, so we're back out. Got a uniform change, had a little breakfast, clean, and so I'm going to climb up inside here. We'll kick that little pass through carpet out of there and we'll pull that bead out. We'll get that sleeper boot all the way out. We'll get up underneath here. We'll get these two last bolts, you see it right there. Hopefully those buds right out of there. And then we'll grab the forklift. We'll move this stack of parts. We'll slip in under there and we'll see about getting that braced up. Maybe get a chain around there. We'll pick it up. We'll bring it over here and we'll set it down probably on one of these pallets. And then we'll work on getting it buttoned up for the weather to come. We'll get the cab taped off and we'll get the sleeper taped off. Probably put the sleeper right there. And then we can get a better assessment of this frame. We'll get those fuel tanks off today as well. Should be easy. Buzz those off with the 3/4 drive impact and get those out of the way and get the drive shaft disconnected from the center bearing. And then there's some super greasy mess in there that needs to be scraped off and pressure washed. And then this thing, finish getting those lines off. Those are easy, a couple little line clamps. Get those things dropped down and roll that stuff up out of the way and get ready for this thing to get sandblasted, primed, and painted. And I did notice there's a little bend in the frame. I don't think it's a huge deal. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it at all on camera. But it looks like the truck got pulled out of a ditch right here. Hooked a chain on it and gave it a jerk that way, which broke that rear cross member. And because this cross member was rigid in there, we got a little tweak on this frame rail right here. I don't know if you can see it. You can probably see it right there. But if you look at it from back here, you can see it's got a little tweak to it. Now, I'm not sure what to do with that. What I may do is once it's all sandblasted, primed, and painted, I may brace this up here and try and pull this corner that way and see if I can give that a little bit of a tweak. Now, you got to go a little further than square to get it to stay, but worst case scenario, I'll run it to a frame shop and have them just dink it in there. I would cut this truck off, but I don't have this frame rail as big. It's got a 10 3/4 inch spread and it's 1/4 inch thick, and it's about an 1/8 inch thicker than any of the other frames I have on the property, and it's about 3/4 of an inch taller than any other frame on the property. So yeah, it's a good stiff frame. Let's get her sandblasted. Let's get her painted. Let's get that airbag mounted up on here. I think it's going to be a pretty easy deal. We'll move the RGN out of the way. We'll snatch a hold of this thing with the forklift. We'll pick it up and we'll drive it out there. And we'll get it put in here this way probably. So I've got room all the way around it. And then I think we'll take that suspension off of that 8-bag frame and we'll just roll that stuff up under there. And we'll have the center holes. This is going to be about the center right here. We'll have the center holes drilled for those plates. We'll roll the chassis in there. We'll bolt those bottom tie bars up, that crossbar, and then we'll start just putting in. There's not that many bolts. There's 4 bolts on each side in the center. There's cross member. We'll get to it. Anyhow, let's get after it. Okay. Try and clear out a little space in here. It's a nice fire extinguisher. We're going to keep that handy in the shop in case we need it. All right, so I got the lines off down here. There's only a couple of things I need to do right now, and that's just turn these loose. I don't know what they are, but I need them to be not on here, so I thought I could just nip them off, but apparently I can't. Oh boy, some sort of coolant line. Okay. Never seen those before, so I don't know what they're for, but as far as I know now, the sleeper's loose. Yeah, these lines are going to have to come out over this bar. All right, I just barely got it, like barely, like barely. All right, guys, so there it is. We got sleepers off. This old transmission cooler. That's crazy. It's all right, you guys don't need that. Just cut them hoses off, it'll be fine. So what we got to do now is get all this scraped down, get these fuel tank brackets off. We'll measure and see which ones stay. Probably will be, probably just take the straps off. That one's bent to hell. We'll get that one all the way off, that one all the way off. and we'll put the other tanks on. We'll get this pressure wash down. Might as well sandblast it too. We won't put the tanks on until we'll get these tanks off tomorrow. We'll get the rest of those lines down tomorrow, and maybe get this scraped and pressure washed tomorrow. We got to get a cover for that hole. I'd love to do a big hole conversion on it while it's apart. If I can talk Jessica into it, I'm going to do it. It would just make it that much nicer of a truck. That sleeper boot would come out to here, and then you could lean your seat back into the bunk where it should be. So we'll probably end up doing that. You know, if Mark lived closer, I'd have him come help me, but he doesn't, and he probably wouldn't anyways. But anyways, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see ya.